Oh man, it's been a good while since I played some Mario. Let me just hop on— what the fuck? Last time on a Tekken Retrospective. Jin started World War III and plunged the world into chaos because the voices told him to do so. And it turned out to be for nothing. Masterful gambit. Now, there's one little bump in the road before we actually get to the sequel to Tekken 6, Tekken 7. And that's the sequel to the spin-off title from a decade prior, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. The first Tekken Tag was beloved as a classic within the community, often being cited as one of the best games in the series and for many good reasons. A tight competitive scene, a great selection of characters and stages, fun extra content, it's all there. Now the sequel to that game would have a lot to live up to, but how did we even get there? Well, around the time of EVO 2010, a game was being teased by producers Harada and Yoshinori Ono of Street Fighter. An announcement was set for that year's Comic-Con, and it was there where they revealed Street Fighter Cross Tekken. A brand new 2D crossover fighter merging the rosters of Tekken and Street Fighter. Along with that, Harada also announced Tekken Cross Street Fighter. This one would be 3D and catered more towards the style of Tekken mixed with Street Fighter's roster. But we'd still yet to see a proper new standalone Tekken announcement, and it had been a good number of years since the arcade release of Tekken 6. And sadly, people were getting sick of it by this time and wanted to see something fresh. So much so that when Ono and Harada came out at EVO to hand out free copies of Tekken 6, it was actually met with a considerable amount of boos. But in any case, in September of 2010, that year's Tokyo Game Show, Harada tweeted out, "I'll announce something," and fans were expecting more Tekken Cross Street Fighter news, but instead, the announcement we got was none other than Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Our first look at the game being on that very show with this goofy-ass shot of Jin. At first, it looked like a normal traditional Tekken, but then Asuka and Jin started tag-teaming the shit out of Kazuya. And that's when fans knew this wasn't Tekken Cross Street Fighter or Tekken 7. It was our first modern Tekken Tag fighter since 1999. The planned release was summer of 2011, but it would be postponed until autumn. And finally, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 released in arcades on September 14th, 2011. The console version, which featured new characters, stages, and a mode, was released a year later for the PS3 and the Xbox 360, on September 11th, 2012. A couple months later, the unique and frankly awesome Wii U port of the game was also released, but we'll talk about that later. For now, let's talk about the broken Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
The King of Iron Fist Tournaments. Get ready for the next battle. Round 1. Fight!
What do you say to a truce?
Much like its predecessor, Tekken Tag 2 uses the same core tag mechanic. While you have the option to play solo battles, the game was designed for 2v2 battles, where when one of your characters has taken a significant amount of damage, you can tag out and use the other one to let the first recover some health. Once again, the round ends when only one of your characters dies instead of both, so you need to be careful and make sure to use both of them to their fullest. In terms of the fighting mechanics, much of the same ones introduced in Tekken 6 are brought back, from rage to bound combos and even the stage hazards. What is new is the expanded tag combo system. And oh me oh my, is it a tad broken. We've now officially hit a point in the Tekken series where simple combos are enough to destroy your entire health bar in one go. And I mean, sure, these combos are not always easy to land and might be very situational, relying on walls or other tech. But still, given the right circumstances, a good player will be able to kill you in one fell swoop. Of course, the main culprit for this is the newly introduced tag assault mechanic, a cracked out evolution of Bound. After launching your opponent and reaching the juggle limit, you can call in your second character mid-combo, letting them slam a few hits in while you just chill in the background like, hey, you got this, bro. Then you tag them back in to finish the combo. It's smooth, flashy, and lets you extend combos way further than you probably should be able to. It does come at a small cost for your second character. If they've taken significant damage, using Tag Assault will make them lose all their recoverable health. Then there's the Tag Crash mechanic, which lets you escape pressure when your first character is getting comboed. If you time it right, it's a burst-style escape, but a risky one, because if the opponent reads it, you're eating a huge punish. It's only usable in Rage, however, and will eat up both your Rage and your recoverable health. Add all these things up, the cracked out mechanics and combo potential, the sheer amount of possible tag teams you could pick out, and you have what is, frankly, while busted beyond belief, an unbelievably fun Tekken game to watch. To play though, some of the top tiers would make some deadly pairs to fight against. Heihachi, Devil Jin, Kazuya, Lars again. And speaking of these guys, I guess it's about time we talk about what is not only the largest, but most random roster in the history of Tekken to this very day. Seriously, what the hell are some of these doing here? I get the reason why a good number of them are back, after all they were in the first act tournament, but some of these inclusions are just hilariously random. But hey, I've never been one to bust the devs' balls while they're having a little bit of fun. So let's talk about the roster. Of course, you got all your main characters like Jin and Kazuya and whoever else making their return. Heihachi this time around is DH thanks to some sort of a serum he took and we can actually see a hairline on him. It's a miracle! Besides all of the new characters from Tekken 6 making their return with Lars, Elisa, Leo, Bob, Miguel, and Zafina, we got characters that haven't been part of the game since the first tag, like both Ancient Ogre and True Ogre, Jun Kazama and Unknown, Angel, Prototype Jack, Kunimitsu, Forest Law, Tiger Jackson, Alex, Michelle Chang, Dr. Boskonovich from Tekken 3, Combot, Violet, and Miharu from Tekken 4, Jinpachi from Tekken 5, Julia for some reason got a reskin as a masked wrestler going by JC. And then we've got the two most random characters in Tekken history. Slim Bob, whose name is very self-explanatory, and Sebastian, Lily's butler. Why? They really set out to include every character in the history of the series in this game, and even threw in these two cause why the hell not? The only thing they could've maybe added to make sure absolutely no one is left out is Azazel. Hey, wait a minute, what about Gon? One of the really cool things is that you can transform into Devil Kazuya when you play him. In the original Tekken Tag, if you picked Kazuya and Devil, his tag animation would be a really slow transformation. But now it's quite fast and you don't need to use up another tag slot for it. The arcade mode once again has a structure to follow, as the semi-final stage is against the team of Jinpachi and Heihachi. Once you beat them, Heihachi presses a button and drops you into the Abyss, where the semi-final stage is against True Ogre. He's got a new design with a little white beard and looks more badass and ancient this time around. Once you beat him, the final stage is Jun Kazama, who transforms into Unknown. And once more, like Jinpachi in Tekken 5 and Azazel in Tekken 6, she is one cheap-ass bitch to fight, parrying your every move and reading your inputs. Within the Tekken community, this game is absolutely despised. The unbalanced and bloated roster, the absolutely busted tag combo mechanics, it was seen as a dark age in Tekken's history, where the series was near death, as unsurprisingly, the game flopped. The competitive scene was relatively strong for a few years, seeing a vibrant peak between 2012 and 2014, as we saw legendary players like Knee and JDCR take the center of the stage, as well as even some former EVO winners like Ryan Hart. But through those years, it declined as interest in the game waned, and people just wanted Tekken 7 at that point. Especially when Street Fighter Cross Tekken was out, and Tekken Cross Street Fighter was, The thing about Tekken Tag 2 is that it is a really fun game, jam-packed with tons of fun content. If you're a casual player, odds are you're gonna enjoy the hell out of Tag 2. The game doesn't take itself very seriously. I mean, Lily's butler takes up a goddamn character slot. The wacky roster, the amount of random stages, looking at you, Snoop Dogg. The modes, everything about Tekken Tag 2 is just fun and unserious. But of course, for the competitive scene, the sheer brokenness of the game was not very appealing. But this is not a video about the competitive aspect, so screw that, let's talk about the Wii U port of Tekken Tag 2. The last time we had a Tekken game on a Nintendo system was Tekken Advance on the Game Boy Advance all the way back in 2001. And it was charming as hell with an identity of its own. The collab between Namco and Nintendo this time around was as creative as the last. There's so many incredible additions to this port that it's easily the best way to play the game even today. Released in November 2012 as a launch title, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U Edition came out swinging, with all of the content from the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions, plus a bunch of Nintendo-flavored extras that somehow made the game even more cracked than before. Now the first thing to notice here is, this might be the single greatest crossover in the history of fighting games. Get out of here, Smash! Get out of here, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and make way for the big boys. Make way for Mario Heihachi! God, everything about this port of Tekken Tag 2 just oozes with pure fun and charm. Every single character gets their own little Nintendo-themed cosplay. You've got Jin, Kazuya, and even Yoshimitsu playing Link. The big dudes like Ogre and Ganryu as Bowser. Jack and Prototype Jack as Mario and Luigi. And what might be even better is Paul and Law as Mario and Luigi. Look at Paul's hat, that's awesome! How about Jinpachi as Toad? How about Feng, or the girls like Asuka, June, Nina, or Angel as Zelda? Or Lily and Xiao Yu as Peach? Screw it, let's throw in Metroid 2 with Anna and Zafina as Samus. How about Hwoarang, Lee, or Dr. Boskonovich as Fox? Check out Brian, Bruce, or Marduk as Captain Falcon. God, it is such a fun crossover. Playing this port with my brother and choosing characters randomly to see what their Nintendo costume is gonna be, and almost always laughing at the result was such a fun time. And that's kind of the main thing with not only this port, but Tekken Tag 2 as a whole. Of course, that's not the only extra bit of content the Wii U port introduced. We've also got the unbelievably fun and stupid mushroom battle. I could not believe my eyes when I first saw this. This mode takes a normal battle and drops random Super Mario mushrooms into the stage, and when I say mushrooms, I mean they work exactly the way they do in Mario. You've got the super mushrooms, which make your character huge, filling your screen and making you whiff punishes like you're trying to swat a mosquito. You've got the mini mushrooms, which shrink you down to ant size and turn you into the mosquito your opponent is trying to swat. And then there's the bitch-ass purple poison mushrooms of death. These are everywhere. You couldn't avoid getting hit by them no matter what, and all they do is cause pain, taking away your health bit by bit with each hit. But when you're one hit away from death, they can't kill you, so at least you won't die to them, but it does make your opponent's job far easier. There's also the superstars that grant you temporary invincibility and even play the music. This is not just a goofy joke mode, it's actually really fun. You have full control of your moveset while being 20 feet tall or the size of a Lego. It's so stupid, and yet it adds this surreal party fighter energy that fits the Wii U so perfectly. But once more, that's not all that the Wii U version added. We also have the grand return of Tekken Ball, for the first time since Tekken 3 all the way back in 1998, fully realized in beautiful HD graphics. It follows the same concept, there's almost no changes at hand here. You hit the ball and throw it into your opponent's court. If they don't hit it back, they take damage. The meter increases with each hit on the ball, giving it more power and dealing more damage once it does hit you. Funnily enough, this is the best way to earn money in this version of the game, which is perfect for grinding for our third and last Wii U exclusive mode. Tekken Supporters. This is a strange little mechanic you have where you can give a certain amount of money to a character you like, supporting them, and through that you unlock special costumes for them to use in customization. And that was the Wii U version of Tekken Tag 2. Probably the most dumb yet fun Tekken you could play if you're not taking it too seriously. But moving on from the Wii U now, this is where we tackle Fight Lab. Fight Lab is, in a way, Tekken Tag 2's non-canon story mode. And it also doubles as, for the very first time in the Tekken franchise's history, a tutorial on how to play the game. Seriously, while playing this mode, the realization suddenly hit me. This was really the first time the series ever attempted a tutorial mode that taught you the very basics of how to play Tekken. And it's actually pretty delightful. Fight Lab follows Lee Violet as he tries to create the perfect fighting robot. But he's not our main character. Instead, it's Combot. Yup, that's right, Combot. The robot from Tekken 4 who was basically Mokugen's high-tech cousin. He's a blank slate this time around, zero programming, and our job is to train him. It's 5 chapters long, and each chapter has you tackling and learning different mechanics. From the basic movement, what each button does, how to juggle and combo, throw and break throws, and lastly, tag mechanics. The mode has a lot of charm going for it, from the fun and simple fights, the silly dialogue between Violet and his cool, sarcastic secretary. There's some really nice artworks of the characters that somewhat resemble Takuji Kawano's work, and even one of Violet meeting Harada. There's also a ranking system at the end of each chapter that demands things like perfect inputs and taking no damage from enemies. Now here's where it gets kinda interesting. Combat in Fight Lab is customizable. Throughout the mode, you unlock new moves by completing objectives, and you can mix and match different characters' attacks to create your own busted little combat. Want a character with Hwoarang's kicks? And screw it, let's throw in an electric wind hook fist and a devil laser too? You can do that. Of course, this is all locked to offline. Combat isn't usable online because, let's be real, he'd be horrendously broken. But offline, it's a fun little idea that lets you customize a whole moveset. Now, in the final level, you got this sort of boss rush, and ooh. Well, I guess Tekken 7 was in his actual debut then. Yeah, the last 3 bosses of Fight Lab are Bob, Gunryu, and Jinpachi cosplaying as Ken, Ryu, and Akuma. In the ending, Jin, Kazuya, and Heihachi are locked in a room and are forced to fight Combat, who beats their ass. Jin transforms and lasers Combat's head off while Heihachi laughs at Violet, but his rage baiting doesn't work very well as Combat self-destructs. And that was Fight Lab, the exhilarating story mode of Tekken Tag 2. It's definitely no Jin starting World War III or Lars getting betrayed by his android waifu, but still pretty good. The endings of Tekken Tag 2 follow the same general structure of the previous games, but once again, in contrast to Tekken 4 and 5, Tag 2 follows 6 in that it features far more of the goofy, nonsensical endings. Forest Law's ending is in this weird little animation style as he and Paul win the tournament and the prize money. Marshall is fuming at them because they're not giving him the money and are instead riding off to spend it in Las Vegas. But then, in a sweet moment, we realize that they didn't actually go and instead gave the money to a struggling family that lost their home. As Forrest's face is like, I'm never gonna be in one of these games ever again, huh? Wong's ending is a hilarious little fourth wall break.
アザゼルを倒した後、死んではいなかったか。是的，我死过一回。正是因为超越了生死，才能有现在这样的成就。人気キャラとして危うく消されそうになったが。 慈悲深い開発チームのおかげでここにおるというのが実態だろう。
Gunryu commits a felony.
あと少し。もうちょっと。
Taken into custody a half-naked man charged with voyeurism. I'm turning him in to the local authorities.
I don't even know what Dragunov's ending is. Xiaoyu, Elisa, Panda, and Miharu's endings have them visiting an amusement park. They play like a really cute and chill slice-of-life filler episode, and it's genuinely really enjoyable. Lars's ending is just one of the greatest in the history of the franchise, and I'll let it speak for itself. On one hand, it's absolutely hilarious. On the other, it's just so nice seeing the Mishima family actually behaving like a regular household. They obviously still retain their personalities, but seem like they like or at least tolerate each other. And it's just a small glimpse into one of the biggest what-ifs in the franchise. What if they didn't hate each other? Heihachi, meanwhile, is excited to consume a little vial that he says will give him the body he once had. But then... he just turns into Kuma. Hwoarang's ending is a hilarious little glimpse into his friendship with Jin as they have themselves a street race.
내 잘못 아니라니까. 아이 정말.
And yeah, that's the gist of it. I really enjoy this installment's endings as they offer a lot of what-ifs and also glimpses into the everyday lives of all of our characters. This, coupled with the character interactions we have in the game itself, fleshes them out so nicely and gives the game so much personality. There's so many character interactions you could see, and it was definitely the perfect opportunity to do something like this. And things could be more silly and less serious without lore implications and all. You even have things like Miharu's little selfie attack. Seeing all the faces the different characters make, it was all just so much fun. This level of charm and personality also seeps into the customization. While it was definitely a downgrade from Tekken 6's Freedom, Tekken Tag 2 still had a lot of fun stuff to play around with. The core customization was still decent. You had a variety of hair options as well as clothes you could unlock bit by playing Ghost Battle, but the main additions in this installment were all the new items you could use in-game, ranging from weapons to pizzas, the decal system, as well as all the new panels you could unlock for the characters. These new panels were all created by fan artists and put into the game for you to see in the versus screen before battles. Most characters, instead of having their secondary costumes be the classic Player 2 outfits from the older games, have their secondaries more centered around casual streetwear. Basically, how would they dress if they were just hanging out and not battling each other to the death? The girls all had special bikini costumes as well. There's such variety here, and each one is just perfect for the character. It's so nice to just see character-specific costumes that were made for that character, as opposed to general costumes like what we're seeing with Tekken 8 right now. And yeah, that was what Tekken Tag Tournament 2 had to offer in terms of customization. Before we get to the good old memory segment, as always, let's dive into the soundtrack. As while there's some definite bangers in here, in my opinion, it's one of the weaker soundtracks in the series. Because of the sheer amount of stages we have in this game, I do feel as though the composers had less opportunity to make interesting and unique soundtracks for each one. A lot of them feel flat and boring compared to what we got in previous years. But even with that in mind, let's take a look at the standouts. The final stage, or rather June and Unknown's theme, is absolutely incredible. One of the first instances of a Round 1 and Round 2 soundtrack being separate for a stage in the series. The Tulip Festival stage track sounds like a beautiful fusion between classic and modern style Tekken music. Besides these, there's a decent amount of remixes of older Tekken soundtracks that are modernized. And finally, we have the one to stand alone in Tekken Tag 2's soundtrack, as just one of the most beautiful tunes in the series' history. A complete delight to listen to, and one of my favorites in the entire franchise as a whole. The customization theme, Your Sunset. Seriously, it's just a customization theme. Why does this tune go so fucking hard? It's somehow such a perfect blend of soothing, chill, and emotionally resonant. That warm synth, the percussion, it all creates this vibe that's almost nostalgic. Like the kind of song that makes you pause for a moment, controller in hand, and reflect. 1 second you're putting sunglasses on your character, and the next you're like, wow, I've been playing this series since I was like 5 years old, and now I'm an unk. But anyways, didn't mean to get all emotional before I even start talking about my memories with the game. This track in particular just makes me get all warm and tingly. Let's go back to the past once more, and look back at my memories with Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Summer 2012. I was still a kid around this time, about to enter my early teens. We just moved to a brand new house. It was so much bigger. I had a shared room upstairs with my older brother where our old PS2 was still set up. But that year, kid me was about to go through a serious change. After saving up little by little for what felt like an eternity, I gave all my money to my dad as he left to buy me something. When he came back, there it was, the Xbox 360 complete in its package. Words alone can't possibly describe how exciting it felt. I'd been wanting it for years by that point, but before that, I still had to wait a little. My older brother had just started his exams. He was in his final year of middle school at the time, and it was an important and drawn-out exam. Before he started, my dad said we were allowed 10 games, and I gave my brother a list of what to get for our brand new Xbox 360. Some of them my own requests, like Tekken 6, which had eluded me for so long while I was stuck on the PS2, and some of them games he wanted to get for himself. When he came back with them, I was giddy as I went through them one by one. GTA 4, Skyrim, Devil May Cry 4, Tekken Tag Tournament 2... Wait, what? I was livid with my brother. I told you to get Tekken 6! Yeah, but Tekken Tag 2 came out more recently. I don't care, I wanted Tekken 6, I've been waiting to play it for so long. We put the console as well as the games under my bed as we waited for my brother to finish his exams. I remember always going up to my bed and just looking at the games one by one, looking at the cover art, reading the back. The day before my brother finished his exams, conveniently a family friend visited us, and gave us a 24-inch TV screen as a housewarming gift. We had already bought a bigger one for the living room, so my brother and I took that one for ourselves. And finally, the next day, my brother finished his exams. He went out to celebrate with his friends that day, and around the evening, I remember having this delicious cake my mom had baked, and falling asleep shortly after in the living room. When I woke up, it was 10 p.m. My brother was home, and he immediately asked me, "Do you want to set it up?" I jumped up in joy, and we did. We set up the TV, set up the Xbox, and started playing the games one by one. We ended up not sleeping until 4 a.m. That was probably the longest I'd ever stayed up at that point in my life. Magical doesn't even begin to describe the feeling. When I first started playing Tekken Tag 2, I almost hated it. I found it stupid. The lack of a story annoyed me as I wanted to see how the story continued after Tekken 5. I got bored of it fast, and when we bought Tekken 6, I loved that one so much more. I'm not sure what exactly happened in those years, but later on I started to play it more, unlocking all the endings as usual, playing Ghost Battle with my brother and taking turns battle by battle, and soon enough, it just became yet another classic to me. It's the only Tekken that took such a long while to finally click for me, but when it did, as a kid, it was as good as any other. Seeing all the classic characters we hadn't seen in so long felt so cool. Playing around with the customization, fleshing out my combat's moveset, hearing that beautiful intro track once again, even for the first time playing some online matches with my team of Lars and Jin, it was such a fresh experience for me back then and marked my entry into a new generation. Even though the Xbox 360 was at the end of its lifespan by that point and the Xbox One and the PS4 were just a year away from release. We were always a bit late to the party here, and that's okay. I played that Xbox 360 all the way until 2017. I squeezed every bit of fun I possibly could out of it. GTA Online, COD Black Ops 2, Minecraft, Skate 3, countless other games. It was one of the most fun times in my life, and I imagine millions of other kids around the world. I played Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2 throughout every year that I had that Xbox, and when the time came to say goodbye, even though I didn't like the game at first, I could now look back at it with appreciation. Tekken Tag 2 was a little messy, a little broken, but looking back, it was there for all those late nights in that era we all look back so fondly on. It may not have been perfect, but damn was it fun.